the recording.
Okay,
Yeah, Aditi, you can start.
okay. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining this early in the morning to yet another session organized by the Innovation Council. Sorry for that error. Right. Greetings, everyone. Thank you for joining in for the yet another session organized by the Institution's Innovation Council of Indian Institute of Information Technology, Nagpur. We are here at the session 2 of our series called the Impact Lecture Series in online mode. This event is sponsored by Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, AICTE, New Delhi. So we already have had a session 1 of the same series where we had these bubbling speakers talk about entrepreneurship and the skills involved in it. We had previously invited Mr. Ajay Agarwal and Mr. Amrut Bank. And today we are here with the session 2 where we have Mr. Anil with us. He with startups like Donate Card and Dev Seva Mr. Anil Kumar Reddy is digitizing the retail given in India across different verticals. Donate Card enables donors and philanthropists to directly donate required products to charitable organizations online instead of traditional monetary donations. Dev Seva is India's first faith tech platform, disrupting digital devotion for billions of devotees. He has a vast experience in social entrepreneurship, business planning, marketing, and management. He has been awarded with many awards, including, but not limited to, NASSCOM Social Innovation Award for Donate Card, Best Social Enterprise Award. Also, he has been featured in 30 Under 30 Forbes list. He was also awarded with the Distinguished Alumni Award by the Union Minister of India, Mr. Nitin Gadkari. And today we are just honored to have you, sir, to explain us about entrepreneurship. So over to you.
Thanks a lot, Aditi, for that very broad, elaborate introduction. Firstly, I'd like to thank Paritos for having me here. Uh, I'm so happy to hear also that Amrut Bang was also part of the series previously. I think that's so good. Um, See, I got a very long relationship with Nagpur. I studied in NIT Nagpur, and then yes, right. That's how I started all this. In fact, hello. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Anil, you're audible. You can.
It's perfectly audible. I guess there's an error on their end. So we'll just sort it out in the chat. You may continue.
Yeah. No. So I was just saying, right? I got a really good relationship with Nagpur. In fact, with Triple IT also, because there is one Triple IT in Hyderabad. So there was an incubator in Triple IT Hyderabad. So I was part of the Triple IT, right? So I was kind of studied in Triple IT for 2 years. So you can very well say that. And obviously, Nagpur is very, very close to me. So good to be here, right? To start with, um, I I mean, I can talk about so many things, right, in my journey. Um, Especially, I can talk on things like how can we build businesses with almost zero capital, right? I think I have built 3 businesses till now. I've done, and maybe I would have worked on 10 plus ideas, but 3 businesses which I can talk about, right? Which where we have done something. I'm not saying that we have done a great stuff with these 3 companies, but I can very well say that all these 3 companies were started with almost zero capital, right? I think it's very important for us to understand, especially if you look at an Indian context, right? You have such a great talent which is coming out, and on the other hand, you have such huge problems that you can solve, right? I'm not just talking about societal challenges, right? There are so many things that you can work on, that you can build companies and address those problems, right? You don't need to always start a charitable arm or a social enterprise in order to achieve it. So I'm just talking about the wide breadth of opportunities that are available now for someone to grab, right? And I think what stops most of the people is just that, I mean, they don't have enough capital to invest in that business. um, I am especially focused on tech businesses, right? Because with tech, you can actually achieve scale, you can bring in efficiencies, you can work on wide variety of things, and you can really see results very quickly. I can talk about first company that I started while I was still a student in NIT Nagpur. Um, Fortunately, we had a very good, I mean, campus life, right? Like, especially the 4 years that I've spent in college. Because it was not just the academics, right? It is just way beyond that. So I come from Andhra Pradesh, and then uh, not just not just from any city. It's just a small town in Andhra Pradesh, right? So for me, this is genuinely a very good exposure that I got within campus to do so many things. I can tell you, I was part of the photography club. I was part of the social club called Prayas in it. I was leading an adventure club with so many folks that are there uh, in the campus. Right, we used to go to nearby trips. We used to organize events. So we used to organize we used to visit so many not for profits also, right? I mean, there are a few amazing professors who have helped us out in really getting to know about the social sector in a very very deep manner, right? Because you'll not figure out any problem by just looking at it once, or by just thinking कि यार मेरे पास क्या amazing idea है. ऐसे कभी नहीं होता है. I mean, you need to focus on the problem for people, and then just build a solution which doesn't need to be complex, right? Which can be just very simple. I'll talk about the first company, right? Which eventually failed, right? I worked on it for 6 months within campus. It didn't succeed, right? It's again a mobile application that we were building. So obviously, I'm telling you all this because see, I was in final year working on technology problems, because by the time I already have good knowledge about the technology space. I told you, within campus, I was doing so many things. Few things that I was doing was maybe working on internships in startups, right? Going on social internships with NGOs. So all these definitely helped me. See, I'm just trying to connect the dots backwards, right? I'm not trying to tell here, I'll do this because in future it might help me in my business and all. That is not how it works, right? That is not how life works. So you will have anything that you can do with your time, right? And I believe that we can solve so many social challenges or so many problems within the country um, by building businesses, right? By building scalable, sustainable models which can motivate not just you, right? I mean, maybe the team also which is working with you. So today with Donate Card, we have like 50, 60 members team. I'm working on something else called Deva Seva also, which has like 40-member team there. So the first company failed, right? But I have learned so many things with the first company, and I'm so lucky that it happened while I was within college itself, right? So you learn so many things on very basic things also, right? On how you should build your co-founding team, right? It's just very small thing, right? But it just changes the whole dynamics. Then obviously there are so many business challenges, which is what problem you're addressing, what is your solution, why do you think this can this is the potential solution, do you have any insights that no one really know of? I have got few insights that I can tell you in hindsight, right? That no one would have known of these kind of insights. So one insight that I had in my final year after my first startup was, before that I was working as a volunteer during the Chennai floods. So I was there for a month during the activity. So I saw so many things there. One major problem that I really saw is key people are donating material, right? People are donating so much of groceries, so much of these kind of items. But if we go on to the ground, the requirement was something else, right? Let's say, imagine you're in a village where for the last 1 week, it's just complete pouring, right? Like complete rains. And then what do you look for, right? First, obviously, you look for a shelter which doesn't maybe um, like become wet in the rain, or many villages I have seen, right? The whole village is like almost submerged. So all these instances, right, they need things like tarpaulins. Few villages, they were looking for mosquito nets. So these are products that not many people have thought of. So in hindsight, I can tell that that is the insight that I got about that business, which no one could figure out by the time. Obviously, just figuring out doesn't build a company, right? You have to get the right team, build the right plan, and then work on it. So I think I'm so fortunate to build Donate Cart, right, in the last 5 years. So yeah, it all started in 2012 when I joined VNIT, right? And then um, in 2016 my first company, and then that failed. I think in 2017 or 2016 itself, second company also, right? That obviously we figured out a really good business model in it. So all those have to be there, right, for you to succeed. And we started with zero capital, right, both the businesses. So Newsport, while I was still in college, I started it without any my personal capital. I tell you, there is one investor who has invested money in the first company, Newsport. But he was happy to lose that money, right? See, he has done so many startup investments. He also know the risk. So I only took capital like 5 lakh rupees from him. So imagine you're in your final year and you're building a startup, and every month you have 1 lakh rupee to spend, right? And you have a 6 member team, and you're not making any money with that product. So I think that's where it hit me that I think you need to build a business which can make money also. Again, no compromise on zero capital, because we can't build businesses which will burn money for some time, and then maybe in future it might become a great business. I think we have seen so many models which clearly tells us that growth is possible with few products, right? But does it really translate to the revenue numbers? That's the question we need to ask, right? And you have so many insights already with the companies that you're seeing within India, what they are working on, companies outside of India, how they look at product, how they look at marketing. So I think you're living at a time where you have got such a good understanding about the market, because you guys can really do so many things, right? You can do research on every business, even basic metrics also. Keep how much is the cost of shipping, how much is the cost of purchase. All these basic things you can understand from any business, and it's important for you guys to have that, right? I'm not saying that um, every founder will have those skills, right, which will translate to, maybe they'll focus on business also, they'll focus on fundraise also, they'll focus on technology also. So it doesn't work that way also, right? So find the right team in that case. So if you are working on your own idea, obviously you need a team which can work with you. I mean, that is the thing, right? So my first company, I worked with some outside folks, right? They are not part of the college. These guys, I have met them before I saw them working on this product, and then I also liked. I told them that, hey, I want to be hopping on as a co-founder, right there. So they agreed, and 6 months it worked, but obviously realized that those guys didn't. I mean, they don't align to how I work, and it's good that it happened within 6 months, right? Because otherwise, I would have spent a lot of time and energy into that, and then later on figuring out, oh, fuck, I think I made a mistake. I think we shouldn't do these kind of things, because this is a valuable time, right, that you guys have, and it's important for you guys to work on those problems which can generate revenue and sustain yourself. So for donate card, for 2 years we didn't raise any money, right? We were just sustaining on ourselves. At that time we were just raising 20 lakhs a month. That is the how much donations we were raising 20 at that time. So today we are raising 20 lakhs maybe on a daily basis. So there were even few months where in a month we raised 20 crores. So overall donate card we raised some 150 crores, right? That's the impact we are able to create in maybe mostly in the last 2 years. So for first 2 years, obviously, right, that's what every business is, right? You need to keep at it for some time. I'm not saying that it needs to have a very long vision. It should be well planned. I think you need to just learn on the go, right? And that's where you look at other folks also who have achieved success, right, in this space. You have stories of people who are
It's
just
the
like
loop
me
now.
or just like you, who have built companies, who have not raised any money and still build companies. So you need to find the right um, businesses to look up to, or right founders to follow, right? So that you learn from these guys. And it's so interesting, right? So sometimes just basic things, just building, let's say, you want to pivot your product, right? And you don't know how to go about it, right? Then just go back to the customer, talk to them, understand from them. So as long as you build some product which people want, right, which people are willing to pay for, right, it doesn't need to happen even like people just paying you 100 rupees and then using your service, right? You can make money maybe through lending, through multiple other activities. I'm just trying to tell you that you need to figure out all these business models. You need to figure out what are the gross margins in these businesses, right? How does the scale, whether investors are interested in this space. Because normally if you want to build a company which doesn't need any capital at a later stage, because I am talking about companies that you can start with zero capital. Nowhere I am telling that you can actually scale those companies really quickly without any capital. I'm not even telling that you need a lot of capital also. You just need very less capital, right? See, because there are things that you can do using technology that you can learn from other folks, right? That will change the whole dynamics of the business. So these are amazing times, right? I think you guys should really look at um, working on anything, right? Whatever it is, because I know that you will not find out the best product working on it for the first time, right? But still, just go ahead and work on it. I'm sure the college and the administration is open to support you guys in these kind of endeavors, right? That was not the case when I was in college. Obviously, there were a few folks who are very encouraging, right? Who are helping us a lot, but that was not the case with all the faculty in the campus and all. But today, I think you are living in a very different world, right? I can tell you what I was doing, right, in Nagpur, especially. I think there was Thai Nagpur. They organize so many events. They bring in really nice uh, people together. I mean, you get to meet so many of them. You get to listen to them. So I think all those are the things I was doing, right, in Nagpur. I was part of so many social activities. So be it with Times of India, be it with other charitable organizations, right, within Nagpur. So yeah, I mean, you don't need to think that you're also limited by your learning, right, within Nagpur. I genuinely think that you guys have all the available resources that you really need, right, in order to excel in maybe building businesses or even becoming great team members, right, in other teams, right. So that's how I think about it. So I think everyone can be part of this journey. I really think you should think about this. Um, yes, right. I mean, happy to take any questions. I can talk about my businesses, right? Happy to talk about Devaseva also. But yeah, I mean, this is what I wanted to share at first.
All the students and faculties, you may feel free to put in your questions in the chat box, or you may also unmute yourself and ask your questions.
Yeah, Anil, let me start the question first so that others can feel comfortable and can frame it and ask. So, I just need to ask you about the sustainability of the business because people are donating it and you are carry forwarding that donation to the villagers which are in need. So, how is you people are working or what is the source of income for you people to continue the business?
Yeah, I'll tell you, right? So I'll tell you how we figured it out. More than anything, it's important for you guys to know how we figured it out. So the initial idea of Donate Cart is not a standalone platform where NGOs can run campaigns and they can list products, and then they can collect money there, and then we use that money to deliver those products. So that was not the initial idea. The initial idea was more or less like this: ki we will create a platform where we will give links to all the e-commerce platforms, right? Like Amazon, Big Basket, whatever. Let's say this NGO has a requirement of a blanket, then we will give the link of Amazon so that people will click there, select the product, and then donate by giving the address of the NGO. So this is the initial idea that we have, but later on we figured out I think it's going to be very complex, right? For a user, they'll not do this much effort. Now it needs to be very easy for them. So then we only felt the let's go ahead and figure out vendors on our own. See, from the start we have this clear idea that NGOs are looking for material, right? They are really looking for material, and as long as you give them the right material that can help the right cause, right, at the right time, I think it's great problem that you are working on. So that's how we started working on it, right? It was me initially who got this idea, but more or less my co-founder Sandeep, right? He was also there with me in college. We were doing all of this, right, together, whatever I told you guys. We also had one more co-founder later on, but yeah, coming back to the business model. So we figured out. I think it's important for us to talk to vendors, and then we only ship the products to the NGO. And how will we make money? Is we are giving them a very huge order. Imagine, right? A vendor is getting a huge order of, let's say, 1,000 school packs, right? I'm sure they can give me some margin on it, right? And how much can be that how much can that be, right, is the question, right? Ki how much margin can a vendor give you, right, if you're procuring, let's say, in bulk? That's the problem that we started working on. First day we went to the market, right? I think the first cause that we picked in is, it was again a friend, right, who is very motivated to teach um, I mean, deaf and dumb kids, right? To teach these kids how to draw, how to paint, and all these things. Yeah. So this guy wanted the crayons. This guy wanted the drawing books, right? I would say that is the first requirement. Then the other requirement was with an NGO, which is again working with children. They were also looking for stationery items, right? So we went and spoke to a lot of stationery guys. So when we went to the first person, right? Maybe we went to a small retailer, right? So he said, if you buy, let's say, 1,000 pieces, right? I can offer you maybe notebooks with, I can give you maybe 10% margin. So that's how it all started, right? Or 10% margin or 10% discount or whatever, right? That's how it is. So then we went to the wholesaler, then we went to the manufacturer. So I would say that by the time we reached the manufacturer, we very well realized that you can get double digit margins, right? Even more than 30%, more than 50% on some cases. So I'm telling, that's the leverage that you can bring in by building a business like this. So the way we are making money is not just by just giving money that we got directly to the NGOs. I think the way we are making money is bringing efficiency in the purchasing process itself, or procuring in bulk at the first go. So if you compare the other thing, right, Paritosh, so the problem that we are trying to always address was, people would like to give material, right? If they themselves go to a retailer and they take those, procure those things themselves, put it up in their car or a bike, and then just go to the NGO and distribute it on their own. That's an amazing experience, right? Which we also want people to do. But how many people do it? Very few people do it. But they still want to support. So we are trying to replicate that process. We are not trying to do anything else. We are just trying to replicate that process of people going to an retailer, purchasing blanket at 300 rupees, and delivering them to the NGO. Instead, what I am doing is, I am going to a manufacturer, purchasing the same blanket at 200, 220 rupees, make money there, so that we spend some money on acquiring users also, spend some money on building your technology. So whatever it is, right? So you spend money to build efficiencies in your business, so which otherwise a donor wouldn't have done. So for a donor, it's a win-win, because they are donating material and they are getting an update back on what is happening to that material. So I think it's a complete foolproof model on how you can bring in complete efficiency, right? Or complete transparency in how donation can be tracked, or how we can really know what is happening to the buck that we are spending on.
Thank you, sir, for that wonderful answer. Now, I think Atish sir wants to address us. So I think he has some questions. And so over to you, Atish sir.
Uh, Hello, Anil. This is Dr. Atish.
Yeah,
Uh,
nice.
I'm a I'm a I'm a convener of this Institute Innovation Council. I think there is a query in the chat box. Can we answer that thing
Yeah,
first?
happy to do that. Yeah.
Aditi, can you read that?
I can read it now. It says, please share
Yeah,
the mistakes that you did in your first startups and how your thinking process changed for later startups.
yeah, please.
Yeah, that's a great question, Zahid. I can tell you, maybe in my first company, I've learned three things, right? Three major things. No? One I already told, which is, we were not having a business model in it. So we were not making any money. So how many times, I mean, I can't keep going and talking to investors and then keep raising money, right? That's not what I am good at. Huh? There are a few founders who are good at it, but I'm not good at it. So that's the first thing, right? I realized that you need to have a good business model, right? Second thing, obviously, that came in with hindsight, of course, that you need to be passionate about the problem that you're working on, right? Or you need to completely believe in the vision of your company. So my vision with Donate Card is to really help everyone to make even a small donation, right, to a cause, because I genuinely think that every Indian can make a donation, right? And if we are able to achieve that, I'm obviously creating a lot of impact along with it. So that was my motivation, right? Never thought that we will build a business, this can be a large business like this and all. So I think it's very important for you to be passionate about the problem that you're working on, right? And to truly believe in your idea, because it's going to take you time, right? Because it's going to take you time in between where you already have a placement, in between where you have a placement of 20 lakhs, or you want to go to MS. So you will have to stick to it if you really want to work on it, right? So that's one. He, I was not passionate about the first idea was a news app, right? A mobile app, like in shorts, like Daily Hunt, right? It was an app where we were doing it in regional languages, like Tamil, Telugu. You get to read news in 60 words. Karke. That was the idea. So I am not passionate about writing content on a day-to-day basis, frankly. I mean, so I couldn't figure out a business model. I couldn't figure out the problem of that particular. I mean, my passion towards it, right? I'm not passionate about that problem also, which one or the other day you will realize, right? It's okay. It's okay to change. It's okay to change your path. It's okay to work on some other idea with a bigger vision on all those. Yes, I think these two are the major ones. Third one, definitely, I think I again spoke about that, right? Keep normally, right? We try to think that you have to have, obviously you need to have a great team in order to work on any idea, right? So, and you need to be aligned as a team also, right? So that was definitely a big learning, that I'm not aligned to the founder of that organization. Frankly, if not this idea, maybe we would have worked on some other idea, right? I would have been there with him also at that time. But I mean, see, you figure it out, right? You work with people for some time, you know that you can't build companies with them because their mindset is different. I'm not saying they can't build the companies themselves on their own. Huh? It's their way of thinking, right? And I have every right to just go ahead and do something else. So just Newsport was shut down, and then I had this idea of donate card from long, but I never thought that. I mean, we will build it as a company and all. Then we worked on it. That's how that company was there, right? Within this journey, there is definitely so many mistakes. I can just keep talking about the mistakes that we made within the company. Um, right? I think that I'm sure we will not make in the other product that we are working on, right? So, but all in all, I think few things that are common for every company is you need to have a passionate team who really believes in what you're doing, and then that is going to really change the whole game for you. I'll take the other question also. Now, Aviral has. Sir, how your company is different from NGOs? They also take donations and deliver the required help to the needy. Yeah, Aviral. So I think the core difference, Aviral, is just this, that if you're giving money to an NGO, right, the money most of the time will be used in delivering an impact, right? I have complete trust on all the NGOs that are working because I've been in this sector. But that is not the case with a donor. No? They really haven't heard of this NGO before, right? If they want to make a donation, let's say um, you want to support, you saw some really nice organization, right, which is supporting animals today, and you really want to support that organization. So for you, you would be comfortable in giving material directly to them than giving money to them. So we are thinking more from a donor point of view, and I think a donor is more happy giving material, because all through my college, every year we used to organize cloth collection drives from people. So they used to give us tons of material. Na? I mean, more or less, these are second-hand items, but I know that this is the mindset of people, right? People always believed in giving some material to NGOs. So I am nowhere saying that you shouldn't give money to NGOs. There are definitely ways in which you can give to NGOs. There are so many amazing organizations that are doing good job, but we always looked at what can motivate a donor. I think we felt that giving them this idea of choosing the material on their own, and then that same material going to the NGO, that made so much sense to us, right? I think people also kind of agreed to it, so that's how it has been. And I think I always look at it in different ways. Aviral, right? I'm nowhere trying to say that. I mean, let's say if I'm telling you that I don't want to personally involve in running an NGO, right? Imagine that is what I am saying. That doesn't mean I don't like NGOs. I love the work that many NGOs are doing. We partnered with over 1,000 charities today. But how are we different to NGOs is NGO's strength is not fundraising. NGO's strength is not building a platform to raise donations from so many people. Their strength is walking on their own, right? Building some, I mean, creating impact with their own community, creating impact in the way they believe in. So, I mean, I am different because I don't know that work. I don't understand that job. I am only focused on building a technology that can empower these guys, right? So that's why I am different, right? I am trying to empower these guys rather than trying to compete with these guys, right? I think that's how I think about it. Okay.
Yes. Other thing is that now, if we see any company or any app or any website is doing good job,
Yeah, go ahead. No?
so in that case, there might be the possibility so that other can get that idea. For example, now we have a Zomato. So along with Zomato, we have a Swiggy and Uber Food and all those things. In transportation also, we have so many companies are there. So how do you feel about this type of feeling? Do you have this type of feeling if someone take this idea and develop another app and develop another platform? So how that happened?
See, I can tell you, right, um, how I was thinking at different points of time, no? Because that will help you also look at this, right? I don't know, somehow from day one, I had this opinion that I think it's not just with the idea, right? It's very much with the execution, it's very much with how you go about it, right? I think it's not an easy task building a company, no? So someone stealing your idea, right? See, that's like saying ki, I have a patent for my idea. So you don't have a patent for your idea, right? I think you need to accept it. You're walking in this world where everyone has every right to work on that idea, right? So for you, you need to choose the right team who will be with you for forever no? In achieving it. So if you find out that team, it doesn't matter whether they have raised a lot of funding, it doesn't matter whether they have a better product and all. As long as you are confident about your solution and how you will make money through it, because you will definitely grow, and there is a role for a lot of players in it, right? I mean, it's not like Zomato is the first player in the business. There was Food Panda. You guys must be knowing Food Panda. So I don't know where it is today. So there was Ola Foods or something. There was like Uber Eats, like whatever. So you see that like these companies, more or less, it's always a game of maybe one or two players, right? Building large companies there. So as long as you work on these ideas, I genuinely think that you always have so many urges, right? Just with not with the idea, as I was telling, right? You have better insights, better than them. You can work on a different model. You can work on a model which will not lose so much money. There are so many ways in which you can build the business, or not. Everyone can't copy the all the things that you're trying to do. And right, so be smart about how you share your idea with someone, right? What you talk to them, how you think about it. I can give you an example of within our own company, right? So there was one guy who joined us just for a day, right? And then he himself realized that I think he's not it's not a good thing to do. So this guy had an idea before, right? Around similar thing, not similar thing, but around similar space. So he was thinking about an iteration of donate card, so which he started. So see, as long as he is not copying my website and all, I don't care. But he has done that also. So there we have to take legal route, right? So you need to tell them, right? You can't just copy the website, the flow, all of these, right? You can't just plagiarize the things, right? So you do have some of these things with you, But I am telling you, right? It's you shouldn't worry about all these things, right? I think what you should really consider is, if you're talking to an investor that you can trust, you need to be very very open about your idea, your plans, so that they can help you out. They can tell you, hey, this is where I think you should work on, right? And it's not like you have to listen to them. You can just take their feedback, just work on those things that you want to work on, right? It's all with you, right? So it's okay to share ideas with almost everyone, right? Whatever idea that you have, because you need the team to build it. You People should know about it. I can tell you, right? My third co-founder, I was telling, it was me and Sandeep who started, but Sarang, who was my third co-founder, he got to know about us because he saw a Better India article about us, right? So he was having similar idea. He felt here, rather than I working on it separately, why don't I work with these guys? So he was an amazing co-founder, right? So that is how you build your team. That is how you get these guys. You need to talk about your idea. You need to just put it out there. So Uber co-founder got their like Uber का जो founder है, he got the co-founder by just posting it on Twitter. So this is how it works, right? This is how the world works, right? So you have to just go ahead and open about sharing your idea. You shouldn't worry about someone copying it or not, because it's not just about this. It's so many other things, right? Sorry, it's the long answer, but I genuinely think people should be very very open about what they are doing. In fact, within the group, if you guys have any ideas that you are working on, happy to hear them out also. Yeah.
Great, Anil. So I think it's a very inspiring experience that you have shared. And I used to tell in the class also that people should think about the idea and try to identify the problem in the society and try to find a easy solution, not very complex, not very costly. And you can start from your final year also. And Triple IT in Nagpur has a incubation center now, which is by MSME department, and for one idea they provide the 15 lakh rupees funding. So you have started from 5 lakh, I think so. So these peoples are getting 15 lakh, so they should not wait for anything. So they just try to explore that idea in the final year or at the first year itself. They can start and come up with the startup, and hopefully in future Triple IT Nagpur will have a more than 100 startup in future, and we will expect you physically in campus, Anil.
Sure.
So on the behalf of institute and Institute Innovation Council, I would really say thank you for accepting our invitation for this seminar, and thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks.
Go ahead, Aditi.
There is one more question. You want me to take that?
Yes.
Please,
Please,
please.
Anil.
Yeah. So how can you be positive, patient, and persistent while working on idea? As when we fail, we say just leave it or do something else. So how can we overcome this situation? So Ayush, right? I think uh, it's very important for us to understand the reality of the market, how normally any idea works, right? How startups work, how you can scale. So you need to understand that game, right? You have to play by those rules. You can't just say that, hey, I am very passionate about my idea, and then I'll just keep working on it forever, right? It doesn't work that way, no, right? You are giving your valuable time. I'm telling you, right? I think every one of you has so many amazing insights, right, about everything, right? Even if you have just this basic insight that you can build a technology solution for it, that itself is a lot, I'm telling you, right? Because today people work on a lot of ideas which are, I mean, I'm not saying if you're not involving technology it can't be scalable. There are so many people who have done that, right? But I am telling you guys that you guys have that very unique understanding which no one have, right? So you have to pick up the other idea, right? You will know, let's say you're working on one idea, you will there itself know here, maybe let's try a different approach. your problem will not change. Your problem, see, my problem with donate card was always key people want to donate material to the NGOs. So my initial version was they'll do it through Amazon. But the second version was why what if they do it on me? Right? So because see, there was one version in the US which says they partnered with these e-commerce platforms and then they have created a tech interface to do it. So today I can build some solution because 5 years back that was not possible. So I am trying to say that you need to figure out the approach that you want to apply, and then I can definitely tell you, Ayush, right? There are thousands of people who would have executed the same idea, very same idea, right? They would have executed the very same idea, but they wouldn't have succeeded, right? So you get to learn so many things from those guys also, right? So once you know that, I think it's a very less chance of you going to succeed. I think you need to have a positive mindset. Otherwise, you're working on a long term idea, right? I think the way I look at any business is play long term games with long term people, right? So I think if that is the case, then I'll not worry about the smaller issues and all. Obviously, I need to figure out the product market fit. I need to do all those. So those are the basic things that I have to build on any idea, right? Then once things are not working out within that thing, so I'm okay, right? I think I understand here. Maybe I think I need to change the approach. So sometimes you'll have this amazing um, knowledge, right, about your business. I'll talk about Deva Seva here, na, just for an example. So Deva Seva is a platform which does pujas for people, online rituals for people, right? So people who can't visit these temples, they can just book these pujas online, and then they can watch these pujas live, and they can receive prasadam to their home. So that's the experience that we are aiming for, right? There is one thing with pujas which is people take your sankalpa in pujas, right? That's the normal tradition. Some pujas people can take sankalpa on their own, right? I mean, let's say the puja is happening and I can chant my own name and then I can take the sankalpa. So there are two ways. One is you you can get a pandit to do the chanting, right, of the names. The other approach is people can chant their own names. So I chose the model where people can chant their names because if the Pandit have to chant the name, then I have to do it for 5,000 people who book the puja. I mean, it's just going to be impossible for me to do it because the puja happens only for 2 hours and then I have to do this chanting for all these guys. No? So I'm not saying this is the best approach, but I'm trying to say we do chanting of the people also, but I can't scale more than 2,000, 3,000 there. So for those cases, I'll tell people to self chant, or I'll call people. Maybe they can just tell their names, and then those names will be chanted in the puja. Right? We'll just play those recordings. So you need to be smart with your ideas. So again, as I said, you wouldn't figure out the complete idea right in the first go itself. So you have to be patient. You need to be positive. You need to be persistent in order to figure out here what is it that thing that I mean that is going to really scale 10 times where I don't need to put in a lot of effort. Today, that means I'm limiting my market also, Ayush. Right? See, today I'm not telling, right, I'm building this product for like all the Hindus in the country. I am just telling that I am building this product for the 20 million people in the higher income level, right, who are very religious, who are willing to do pujas on a regular basis. So I'm building solution for those kind of guys. So you need to be very clear that who are you building your product for, whether they value your product, whether they are willing to give you money for the service that you're giving them, right, in return. So it takes a lot of time to for you to figure it out, and I think you need to be what it takes, right, to do that. Yeah.
Thank you. Can Aditi, can we request all audience to switch on their camera so that we can take a photo for the record?
Sure, sir. All the audience, faculties and students, you may please turn on your cameras for the group photographs. And alongside, I'll be just presenting the formal vote of thanks. So, thank you, Anil sir, for this brilliant session on entrepreneurship and its societal impact. Thanks to the wonderful audience for being so wonderful and putting up some amazing questions, which made the session also more interesting. I am grateful to the institution's Innovation Council Indian Institute of Information Technology, Nagpur, for organizing, and Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, AICTE, New Delhi, for sponsoring the Impact Lecture Series in online mode. So thank you, sir, for sharing your experience, your knowledge with us. We are certainly also more inspired, and we have more clear directions on our path ahead. So,
Yeah, thanks, Aditi. Thanks everyone for listening to me.
Anil, one more thing, this is just I got the idea. So, can we have some collaboration in terms of if you need something technically related uh, the developing app or something like this where our students are very good in, so if we can have some collaborations where students can be given some problem statements and they'll be doing that project, and you will be mentoring them so that they work on real problems, and we'll have some collaboration in the process. Is something like this is feasible?
Yeah, I don't think that's feasible with us. I'm sorry to say that, but I think it's better we work with. Again, I think the mentality is this, right? Long term with long term people. So we have tried all these. I don't think so. It will help a lot, but see, as long as where our involvement is very less, right? Because we don't want people to come in here. I need this data also. I need this all these things because that is going to be tough for my team also to manage, right? So happy to look at it maybe as an internship where they come full time and then work here, or as a full time career, na here. So I think those are the two things that we are happy to do.
Great, great. Like
Yes.
have a compulsory
So
6 month internship for all the students. So maybe those who are little interested, or they are having passion related to the social aspects, they might have this approach of doing internship in the companies where you are associated in, and then we can have some collaboration from that aspect.
Definitely, yeah.
yeah, Dr. Paritosh is also a training and placement coordinator. So he will manage that internship things.
Sure, sure. See,
And
I think what I would say, right? Internships is great, right? Definitely, it helps. I can tell you where all I did internships. So I did an internship in a steel plant where I realized I think I don't want to work there for my entire life. Then I did an internship with an NGO, Goons in Delhi. That is very important, right? I think you need to, if you have some idea for farmers, you have to be with the farmers. Like I don't think so there's anything that you can do with me, nah. So you need to think like that. I'm just trying to help you guys, that anyone who is thinking about your internships will help me figure out ideas and all. So this is how you should think about it. It's okay if that doesn't fit your CV here. If you say here this small NGO in so rural area पे आपने 2 महीने काम किया, तो I mean people might not value me and all. It doesn't work that way, right? They value how what you have learned in that process. So yeah, I mean, if anyone who is thinking about working with NGOs and all, my suggestion is just go and work with the NGOs who are doing the real work on the ground. Yeah, and yes, that's going to help a lot.
so Paritosh, sir,
Any
are you done
technology
with
business also it works, right? So anyone who is into looking at business and all, I think any technology business would help. Yeah.
Yes, we have our associate in Dr. Mayur sir also with us. Mayur sir, would you like to speak few things?
First of all, very good morning, Dr. Anil.
Yeah. Good morning.
Morning. Yeah, and also I'd like to thank you, Paritosh, and the Dr. Atesh and the whole team for arranging such a wonderful lecture. Dr. Anil, I have been listening your lecture, and I was I mean, I find this very useful for the students, not just as a insight what to do, how to be positive, and all those things. But also uh, working with the companies, how they can I mean they can improve their thought process behind developing any kind of idea, how to incubate those things, and many more that generally they don't get such information in the market, or the insights of this are very important. So this is very nice that we have such experts at our institute that delivering such kind of expertise. So like to thank you once again, and also to the team. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Thanks.
Okay, so I would request the audience just to stay in with us because our next speaker will be joining in. Although you may take a 5-minute water break and then we will continue.
Good morning, Vikram sir.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Morning.
Greetings to the audience once again. I would request to invite all your friends to join back for the session as we'll be starting. So welcome back everyone to our second lecture for the day, which is part of the Impact Lecture series in online mode, organized by the Institution's Innovation Council of Indian Institute of Information Technology, Nagpur, and the event is sponsored by Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, AICTE, New Delhi. Previously, we had attended a mind-boggling session on based on entrepreneurship and its societal impact, which was conducted by Mr. Anil Reddy. Now we have our second lecture for the day, on insights into entrepreneurship, where we have our eminent speaker, Mr. Vikram. So I'll be just telling you more about sir. Right. So Mr. Vikram is a technologist. He's an entrepreneur and an investor. He- Mr. Vikram is a result-oriented leader with over 2 decades of global experience. He has a track record of starting, growing, and managing multinational companies in India operations with a strong grasp over local industry challenges. He has been involved as an advisor to state and central governments on addressing policy paralysis. He has served as the vice president and managing director of Fivetran, which is ranked fifth in the fastest growing private companies list by the San Francisco Business Times. You may obviously connect with Sir over LinkedIn and know more about him. Uh, Meanwhile, I think I'm done with the introduction. So over to you, sir. We'll be happy to grasp your knowledge.
Thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Honestly, it's my pleasure to be here. I'm also from Nagpur, and as a result, have strong connections there, and always look forward to helping people in general. But when it comes to Nagpur, close to my heart for sure. Right. So let me share. I think there's some issue with sharing. May I, Paritosh, if I could very quickly send you the deck, would you be able to share it on my behalf?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No problem. You can send it to me. I'll share it.
Okay. I have sent it, Paritosh. Have you received it, Paritosh? Can you confirm?
Yes, yes. I have received it, sir. I'll be sharing in a minute. I guess the screen is visible to all.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah. Vikram, sir, we can start.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you so much. Can you go to the next slide, please? So guys, what I thought I would do is first give you guys a quick peek into my journey, right? And then the rest of the deck is about what are my learnings out of that journey, and how potentially it can benefit those learnings, right? Um, so as I said, I'm originally from Nagpur, right? I moved to Vancouver, Canada to do my master's. And then, this was in semiconductors, and then joined a company called PMC Sierra. So I call my journey as my 25 years of journey as a journey of three peaks. I've been, I would say, very fortunate that I've had, three peaks. People struggle to have one. So after joining PMC Sierra in Vancouver, I was a hardcore techie. Okay. I was, developing semiconductor products. I have US patents on my name. I have several technical publications on my name. I used to go to technical conferences, present, technical roadmaps and stuff like that. Hardcore techie, I would say, right? Um, through that journey, right, within a span of like 6, 7 years that I spent, I rose from being a fresh graduate to the leading technologist for the company. Okay, and that's why I have these patents and publications and stuff. Okay, the thing I want to bring out, right, is in that 6, 7 years journey, right, I had a choice to pick a job which would have been very, very stable. People would, my parents would have known about the name of the company, and so they would have been happier if I joined that company versus PMC. No one knew, right? But I decided to pick PMC, and that too, a group in PMC which was being formed, a new group, right? And as a result, and this is called a memory group. And as a result, you know, um, I did not just design memories. I had to look at tools, what tools to use, what flows to use, right? What would be the methodologies to develop RAMs, various things. And then I developed RAMs, right? Um, 3.5 years into that, role, I started to feel that I have, I have gained expertise in this area, not just learned enough, but gained expertise, kind of subject matter expert, right? And so internally itself, there was another group being formed, which was in mixed signal design. And I applied there, went through the interview process again, got that job, went through the same journey, kind of the first person in the group, and then put together the, tools, the flows, methodologies, and then also started working on the designs, right? Gave me tremendous experience, I would say, that each of those 3.5 years, two slots, right, was like 10 years each, I would call, right? And I think I made the best use of that opportunity. And as a result, I had patents, technical publications, a lot of that, and I reached that peak. Okay. As fate would have it, PMC in 2005 wanted to start a center in India. Okay, R&D center in India. And honestly, I had no experience even managing two people at that time. I was a hardcore techie, right? But somehow inside me, I felt I could go do it. Okay. So I decided to apply for that position. That, okay, transfer me to India and I would set this up for you. And believe it or not, it took me 1 month of convincing the HR to at least give me an opportunity to present my case. They kept on saying, Vikram, you're really good, but this is not for you. Um, Finally, I said, one day I said, if either don't tell me you're really good, and if you think I'm really good, then I deserve an opportunity to present my case. Okay. And I presented my case. I said, okay, this is how I would go about it, right? Because it had to be treated like a startup completely. Just like my previous two jobs within the company, although this was part of PMC, right? I was part of mixed signal team, which was brand new. So it was like a startup within a company. Then mixed signal kind of startup within the company. And then, coming to India was like all together different scale, right? I went through the interview process, cracked all the interviews. The last interview was with the founder and COO of the company, and he asked me, several questions. One of them was, "Do you have any concerns?" And I said, "I have several." And he says, "Okay, list top three." And the first one I listed was, you may send me to India. I may work 24/7, giving my best, but results may still not come because of, things beyond my control. And because I would be so far away, um, you may think, because never had a management experience or starting scaling experience, right? You may think that Vikram was not made for the job. And so it's an easy decision for you to fire Vikram. And, the CEO says, fair concern, Vikram. So what have you thought? And my answer to that was, I said, if by the time you make a decision to close down PMC in India, If I have proven myself, you will find me another job within PMC. Otherwise, there is life beyond PMC. And that's what actually sealed the job for me, I was told later. The reason being, I did not say that I've done fantastic for 7 years in technical. If I fail in this, bring me back and you know I will do well in technical. So I kind of made it very clear I'm going there looking at it as a one-way street, right? I would give my best and I would make it happen. If it doesn't work out, there is life beyond PMC. And this is again, I think, a very important uh, quality to possess as an entrepreneur. I would say that you have to figure out things, not necessarily everything. I'll be talking about several of these things, right? The learnings from this, right? And the third is, so I ended up, I moved to Bangalore in 2005, started PMC's India operations from my hotel room. We had absolutely nothing. Figured out how to do the registrations, what registrations are needed, right? Got a office space, built it up, built up the whole, team, set up finance, HR, legal, IT, facility, in addition to engineering, right? All of those functions as well. And then scaled PMC to be 1,000 people company in India over next 11 years. Became the largest R&D center for the company with almost more than 50 patents filed out of the India operations actually. Okay. Point came when I felt there's not much left for me to learn every day and kind of became boring. So I started discussing and negotiating with the founders about my exit, put together a succession plan, came out of PMC and I wanted to do a brand new startup at that time, right? Traveled to US, met a lot of friends to figure out, what would make sense. And I, came back to India. And just when I was putting together my startup idea, you know, a guy named George reached out to me. Um, he had heard about my desire to do a startup, and he, along with few other people, had started to work on a startup at that time, and none of them had any experience, scaling up. So I was a kind of a perfect match in that initial core team, and with the common interest as well of doing a brand new startup and scaling it up. That was Fivetran. So 2016, I started I joined Fivetran as one of the initial core members, founder member in India. First office in India was actually a spare room in my home. And I'm very happy to note that it's been just 5.5 years, but we are more than 1,000 people company worldwide. We have offices in Sydney, Australia, of course, a very large office in Bangalore. In the two troubled countries of Russia and Ukraine as well. We have a couple of offices in EMEA as well, and in US as well. Two offices in US as well. We have more than 3,000 customers worldwide. Okay. We have, last year raised, $565 million of funding for a $5.6 billion valuation. And the last thing I would mention about this whole journey is, the investors, right? One of the investors who have invested in Fivetran in Series C and in Series D is a company named Anderson Howards. Anderson Howards is the company which invested in Facebook when it was small, when Instagram when it was small, Airbnb, right? I mean, several of the big brands today, right? When they were small, Anderson Howards invested in them, right? So they are like the marquee investment firm. Just to get their appointment itself is very difficult. And we're very pleased that they invested in us in Series C and then again a year later in Series D. Um, so yeah, that's been my journey so far, right? Now let's go to the next slide. Yeah, so why startup, right? And so I want to just give a one real life example of why startup, right? And um, when I was starting a Fivetran, right, I used to tell people who were joining early, right, and I still give that story to them as well, that that you can always join a Microsoft or a Google or Amazon, right? They are the tech giants. Everyone knows. Your parents would be very happy if you do that, right? But you would have a regular job throughout your life. Okay, good salary, good raises every year, right? But you would be working throughout your life. Okay, if you join a startup in its early phase, right, or build your own startup, right, and do the right things. And some of those I would be talking. What are those right things, right? You don't have to work all your life actually. You become financially free very, very quickly. And the real life example I want to give here is so in December, in October of 2017, I received a message on LinkedIn from a guy from Gujarat. And he says that, it's been 1.5 years since I graduated. I haven't found a job. I have used this 1.5 years to build these apps. And I would really appreciate if you can give me an opportunity. Okay? So I called him up for an interview in Fivetran. Okay, he did really well in the interview. He got the job. December 2017, he joined, right? December 2021. And he came from a very poor family as well. So he had never seen money in his life, right? December 2021, just 4 years. So, all, we give stock options to everyone who joins, right? And they have a vesting period, which means every year you would get 25% of the stocks. You can sell it, you can do whatever, right? So after 4 years, you have the whole thing vested. Okay, it's all yours. So when he completed 4 years, when all of those stocks became his own completely, right? He quit Fivetran not to find another job, but to do things which he always wanted to do in his life, because money is not a factor in his life anymore. Just in 4 years, he doesn't have to worry about money at all, right? So he's actually right now in Europe learning music, and those are the kind of things he's doing, right? So you can, as I said, right, you can always have a regular job, nothing wrong in that, right? But why do a startup? It's a tremendous journey, and it's not easy, and I would go through some of those as well, right? But the rewards are, I mean, just uh, that you cannot compare. It's not apples to apples at all to a job, any job. Okay, so let's go to the next slide now. Okay, so from here are the learnings and my recommendations of how to go about building a startup, right? This is what I call insights in entrepreneurship. Okay. Um, Honestly, startup is not easy at all. While I gave you example that you can retire in 4 years, and that's a real life example, right? And there are so many I can tell, because I know through my PMC journey as well as through the Fivetran journey, there are so many people, um, who have become financially free, right? Right, but it's not easy, right? It's not easy. And let me start with an example, right? It's like, let's say, uh, you you want to go to a store, grab something and come back, and you know how to drive a car, right? And someone gave you a key, right? And the car is in the garage. You go to the garage, you start the car, and you know how to drive a car, right? You go to the store, pick it up, come back. Okay. Okay. So when someone gave you that key and you started the car and all of that, right? I call that as a corporate job. Okay. The car is in good condition, right? They have given you a list of things what to buy, right? You go start the car, go to the store, buy those things, come back. Okay. Startup is a, you know, is a car in the garage, but and a much better car, right? Um, which can probably take you to the moon, but it's not assembled to begin with. Okay, so you have to go into the garage and first assemble the car. Okay, so that you can start it. Maybe some parts are assembled, right? It's not everything in pieces, right? um, right, so you have to put together the car, then start it, and then take it to the moon. You don't have to go to the store and come back. Okay, that's the big difference between a corporate job versus a startup, right? which is why you have to build a solution to a problem that you really love solving. Because if you don't love solving that problem, if you don't love what you're doing, right, you will get frustrated assembling that car. And you would say, oh, I would better, go take the keys from someone else, start the car, and start driving, right? So you have to really love the problem you're solving. You have to love the people you're working with. You should feel like, you know, no one should be required to tell you what to do. You should feel like, this is my dream as well, that I want to reach the moon, right? I want to build this solution that we are working on, not just do a piece of it, and do something else after that, right? That's why, and this will give you a lot of meaning in life as well, right? You would know where you're going, right? So yeah, that's the first insight I have, right? Let's go to the next one. Second, yeah, ensure the problem is very big, right? And the solution you're putting together for that problem is also very scalable, right? Otherwise, you'd put together this car, but it can probably be driven only for 1 kilometer and then it breaks down, right? Or it doesn't drive anymore, right? Which means the problem was not big enough. It can only take you so far. Or the problem was really big, but the solution you put together was not scalable. What that means is, for every customer, you have to put together a new solution, right? And as a result, you're always in operations mode, that, always trying to put together the solution for the customer. Okay. Rather than that, it is better that you are always improving the product and adding more features so that the potential market becomes bigger and bigger, right? And I just wrote services versus product, right? I have nothing against services. I think it's a great business as well, right? But the way services business works is, um, you're actually dependent on the number of people you have to provide those services, and the revenue is dependent on the number of people who provide those services. Versus a product, you develop a product, and let's say it's a software product or IP you have developed, right? Once you have developed that product, and you're just selling that product over and over and over, right? Maybe you're fixing bugs, maybe you're adding new features for futuristic, right? But but uh, the potential market becomes very large. Okay, that's the second insight I have for you guys. Let's go to the next one. As I said, right, you have to build the car, you have to assemble the car, right? And no one person is completely skilled to do that. Even in a car factory, real car factory, they are not, right? Even Bill Gates is not, right? Elon Musk is not, right? No one no one has all the skills to build what it takes to be a successful startup, right? So you have to bring in complementary skills. Okay. You have to know what skills you bring to table. And then you have to look at what are the other skills needed to be able to build this product and to be able to take this product to market, to be able to sell this product, to be able to raise funding. There's so many things, right? So you have to bring in complementary skills. And so you have to always have an eye on, and you can't bring all the skills together day one, and you shouldn't as well, right? So you have to have an eye on, okay, for next 6 months, I need to be building this. So what are the skills needed, right? And how can I bring those, right? And after that, I would be needing to build, ABC, what would be the skills needed, and then start figuring out how you would bring in those, fill in those gaps as well, right? So always have an eye on those as well. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Credibility is extremely important, right? Because no one, if no one knows you, right? Um, you know, why would they join you? Why would they join your startup? Why would they want to be part of, your team at such a early stage when there's so much uncertainty, so much risk, right? So credibility is very, very important, right? And if since you guys are all from college right now, right? The question may be, how do I go about it then, right? You know, Luckily now, in India, there are a lot of successful entrepreneurs. And more importantly, there are a lot of successful entrepreneurs who are actually very passionate to help new entrepreneurs, right? So try and figure out who can be those people who would be, who would be open to be your advisors, right? Um, you may have a fantastic idea, but you know, if you're trying to raise money, um, idea everyone has is what you would always hear, right? Execution is what makes the difference, and it's the team who executes, right? And that's why it's important to be able to build that team and to be able to help you build that team. It's it's important to have credibility, and if you don't, then bring in those advisors, right? And another thing I would mention is, never hesitate reaching out anyone you think could be of help. Don't think that this person is XYZ, he would not he would not even reply to my messages. Give him that choice, give him or her that choice to reply to your message or not. Take that initiative to reach out, right? Let's go to the next one. Yeah, this is extremely important, guys. We are all techies, and we underestimate the value of storytelling. Okay, you may be amazing in the work you do. You may have a great idea. You may also have put together a great team who would execute on that idea, right? Uh, but then there are so many other people you need to bring on board, and to be able to bring them on board as well, you need to be an amazing storyteller. At least one person in the initial core team should be an amazing storyteller. They should be able to tell anyone in a very crisp way about what problem you're trying to solve, why you're trying to solve it, how are you going to solve it, right? They should be able to get the other person super excited. The other person should feel it would be their loss if they are not part of this story. Okay. Um, I cannot stress the importance of this enough, guys. This is extremely important. You have to be extremely good storyteller. Okay, let's go to the next one. Sorry, I'm recovering from a bad throat. Yeah, your energy and passion, right? As I started off, right, solve a problem that you would love to work on solving, right? That would give you the energy and the passion as well, right? And uh, let me give you an example of my initial years, um, of my technical role, right? Um, I was loving what I was doing, right? And I was in memory group, and uh, you know, it's not just long hours that I would work, but I would always be thinking about, you know, how to how to make things better. How do I change things so that if I'm spending 10 hours today, I would be spending, I would be needing to spend only 3 hours tomorrow to solve the same problem, right? And I would be coming up with very creative ways of solving those problems, right? And then I would not limit there. I would I would go tell others about, hey, this is what I've done, and this is how it is helping me. Why don't you try it as well, right? And I remember my manager, I mean the head of that group, in one of the all hands, acknowledging this, saying, Vikram's energy and passion is infectious, and he said that he took the names of so many people from that crowd, saying so many people had gone to him without my knowledge, telling about the problem they have solved differently because of they felt inspired by what I was telling them day to day, right? So without you knowing, your energy is passion, and passion is really infectious, guys. Right? You should you know be very passionate about what you're doing. Energy comes naturally, right? And if you spread it, right, if you let others know, I have a theory of two lines. Let's say if you draw two lines on a whiteboard next to each other, parallel lines, right? One line is longer than the other line, right? um, there are two ways. And let's say if the shorter line wants to become bigger than the other line, right? There are two ways the shorter line can achieve that, right? One is figure out a way to make the long line shorter, right? Take a duster, right? Make it shorter, right? But in reality, you only look bigger in that with that approach. You don't really become bigger. The right way to do this is figure out how can you become bigger, right? um, that's the approach you should take in any of this, because if you take that approach, you will not hesitate spreading that to others as well, because you are not trying to cut anyone down. You are actually trying to be bigger and bigger, and the more bigger you become, the more you can inspire others to become bigger as well, or better as well, right? From that line theory. Okay. um, so yeah, be very passionate about what you're doing. If you're not passionate anymore about that, um, go talk to your manager. Figure out what is the problem, right? You don't necessarily right away switch. Okay. A lot of problems can be solved by having a very frank, open conversation with your boss as well as with people around you. Okay. So have those open conversations. And I personally, I told, right, in my technical life, 7 years I did two jobs, right? I moved to Bangalore, right? I set up PMC and grew it to be 1,000 people company. It was not a straight line, right? There were times when I felt, okay, where am I going, right? It didn't mean I quit, right? um, it just meant that I needed to figure out what is the larger vision, and how am I, you know am I completely aligned? If not, then I'm drifting somewhere, right? And then I have to bring it back and figure out how can I contribute towards that larger vision again, because the company vision also keeps changing from time to time. It's natural for that to change as well. Okay. Yeah, so that's, as I said, right, that's one of the big reasons why someone may want to be part of your journey. Okay, let's go to the next one. Study your competition, guys. You may be very passionate about what solution you are putting together, but trust me, because of technology, there's so many amazing solutions coming up every day. Okay, so it's very important for you to do a thorough and honest study, okay, of your competition. When you study the competition, don't study them to prove yourself right. Okay, that's a wrong reason to study the competition. Study them to figure out how can you put together a solution which is 10 times better than them, right? And when you study the competition, don't only look at the technical solution. Okay, look at how big the market they are able to capture. Okay, remember my first or second slide. How big is the problem, right? Right, with their solution, and what are the various strategies they have used to achieve the market they have got, right? Pricing strategies, solution strategies, right? Feature strategies, marketing strategies, right? Right, learn from them. What are they doing right? What is it that if you were in their shoes you could have done better? Don't put together a me too solution. That will not, I think that's a disaster, right? If you try to put together a me too solution. Right, so do a thorough study of your competition, thorough and honest study, right? And make sure your solution, and when I say solution, it's not technical solution, it's the overall, right, business plan, everything, right, is 10 times better. Okay, let's go to the next one. Okay, so we all get very, we all get very attached and emotional with the idea, right? But I think that's a disaster if you do that, honestly. You should be very passionate but not emotionally attached. I think there's a difference. The reason is, if you're emotionally attached and if you build a MVP, which is minimum viable product, which means if you want to have 100 features, put only 5 or 10. Okay, see if it is working. You know, give that product to some potential customers. Ask for their feedback. Hear what they are saying. Right? They may like the idea, but they may not like the solution. They may say change this, change that. Right? They may like the solution, but they may not like the experience. Right? There may be various feedback you would receive. Be very open to that. Or they may also say that this is crap. I will never pay for it. Right? And if you hear that from multiple people, no one is ready to pay for it, right? Don't be emotionally attached to it. Be very passionate to build it to a point where you are, getting the feedback, but the feedback is there's no market for it. Then be ready to cut your losses. Okay. Let's go to the next one. Yeah. Guys, sales is the acid test. There's nothing else. Okay. In today's world, you see a lot of startups which are becoming big because of the funding, right? And now the market is changing, right? The macroeconomy, there's talk of, recession in US, and as a result, slowdown everywhere. Funding is drying up, and as a result, you would see a lot of, large companies laying off as well as startups laying off. Several companies go bankrupt in cycles like this, in every cycle. Okay, so never have a business which is built on venture capital money. Okay, venture capital money should be used to accelerate the growth, not as a means to, as a foundation, for that company, right? You should have sales, and sales should be sustainable. So if the VC funding dries up, right? If no one is ready to fund you anymore, then you should be able to slow down your growth, which means if your plan of hiring for next 1 year was 1,000 people, you hire maybe 200. You still hire, but you slow down the growth, right? You don't hire 1,000 anymore, right? Which would mean if you're going to grow your sales by 60% this year, you may grow by 15% this year. That's okay, because tough times come, but you would still be growing, right? You would still be and in these are the times when
अरे रिद्धेश, तू त्या एक्सटेन्शन मध्ये असं नको लिहू का माझ्या अकाउंट मध्ये बॅलन्स नाहीये ड्यू टू फायनान्शियल प्रॉब्लेम. आय रिक्वेस्ट.
yeah, I think Samir, you need to go on mute. Yeah, yeah, thanks. Yeah, so the if you have sales, right, you would be able to you would be able to sustain when the times are bad, and the bad times never stay forever, right? And the companies which do not have sales would run into a lot of trouble, which means your sales actually accelerates because they go out of business. Okay, and then when the good times return, you are a stronger company, right? So make sure you test out sales as well as soon as possible. Okay, let's go to the next one. Guys, we are all engineers and we love innovation. We like to work on cutting edge, bleeding edge products, new technology, right? What is the latest out there? All of that, right? Okay. Um, but if you are part of a startup, your focus should be on solving the problem, not on, you know, solving the problem in the simplest possible way. Okay. Which is why you should innovate, but only if it is necessary. Okay. Don't innovate if it is not necessary. If something if your if your problem, if the solution you're building has 5 pieces, right? 3 of them are going to be your differentiators. Other two are anyone can build. Figure out if there is someone who has built it and is ready to sell it. It's That's the best strategy, to just use that, right? Don't try to reinvent the wheel at all, guys. Okay, not at all. Okay, focus on solving the problem in the simplest possible way. Okay, let's go to the next one. Yeah, as I said in one of the first slides as well, right? Make sure the problem is large and solution is scalable, right? The problem could be large, but you need to have a very large vision to be able to solve that problem. You need to have a vision about, okay, what are the various things 10 years from now, right, we could do. Okay. But at the same time, never lose focus on baby steps. If you keep thinking about that large vision, I guarantee you would not reach anywhere. Okay. So you need to have a plan for next 3 months all the time. Sometimes every week as well. Okay. Sometimes every day as well, depending on what stage of the startup you are, right? What problem you are trying to solve. Sometimes you get stuck, and then you may want to have a plan for every few hours as well, right? If I have not reached a certain stage in next 4 hours, I will speak to someone else, right? Don't waste time otherwise, right? As I said, right, Rome was not built in a day. It is extremely important you're taking those baby steps, and it is extremely important they are measurable. You are able to see the progress you are making. Okay, not every day you would be able to see, but you should know when these baby steps would result into measurable outcome, right? And those points you should see, have you reached where you wanted to be? If you haven't reached there, that's okay, as long as you know why and you know how to fix it next time around, right? So always have a large vision, but never lose focus of baby steps. Okay, go to the next one. Feedback is extremely critical. I kind of touched of this in MVP and in sales as well, right? Always seek feedback, guys. People may call you names, people may say this is crap, people may say I've never seen a worse product, everything is fine. Okay, when they give you those statements, try and dig deeper into them, right? If someone said this is crap, try and understand why that person thinks this is crap, right? Because this is crap is a statement, not necessarily any critical feedback. Okay, so try and understand what is working with the customer and what is not working with the customer. Okay, what is not working with the customer is something you can potentially change, or you can educate the customer why it is the way it is. Okay, and what is working with the customer is something you must continue doing, right? So you have to keep moving things from what is not working with the customer to the bucket of what is moving with the customer. And it's never product is never perfect, so it's a journey. That's why feedback is extremely critical. Okay, let's go to the next one. Guys, don't be intimidated by big names. As I said earlier as well, don't hesitate reaching out to anyone you think could be of help, right? Honestly, Bill Gates was not Bill Gates until he built Microsoft and Microsoft became what it is today. Steve Jobs was not Steve Jobs until, or rather, Bill Gates was Bill Gates until he built Microsoft, right? We just know him now, right? Steve Jobs was Steve Jobs, and we know him now because of Apple and so many other examples, right? Okay, all these companies who have built massive, all these people who have built massive companies are just like you and me. Okay, um, the only difference, and I've written that down here, is right. They took action. They had a dream, they had a vision, they put together a great team, right? And then they took action in executing on that dream. Okay. You would never know everything, guys. I'll be very honest, you would never know everything. Even when you have built a massively successful product, right? There would still be stuff you need to do and you would not have answers, right? You just need to be comfortable learning along the way, right? Egos have no role to play in startup world, right? It's okay if you don't know, just figure out how to do it, and you should be very comfortable doing that along the way. Let's go to the next one. All right, I guess this is my second last slide, guys. With that, I want to say that the opportunities today are dramatically more than when I started, right? I have no complaints. I think I've had a wonderful journey, right? What I want to encourage you though, guys, is definitely chase your dream. If your dream is to join Wipro, join Wipro. That can be your dream. Nothing wrong, right? If your dream is to go join Google, do that, right? But but if you want to build a startup, it's never too late and it's never too early. Okay, we have examples of uh, you know people like Bill Gates who dropped out of their school and built a company like Microsoft, right? And I don't know if you guys know Ashok Suta, right? He's the guy who was part of Wipro, then came out, joined, started Mindtree, highly successful company, then started Happiest Minds, highly successful company, and last week, at the age of 79, he has announced his new startup. Okay, so it's never too early and never too late, right? You have only one life, so make the most out of it. Okay. Let's go to the next one, which is my last slide. Okay, currently I'm working on my, working towards my potential fourth peak, and I hope I'm successful in the fourth one. This is a stealth mode startup, so I can't talk a lot about it today, right? But I'm very happy to share with you guys that Bhushan and Pawar Srinivas from Triple IT Nagpur are part of this startup, and it's been only it's been only a couple of months they are part of this team, but amazing guys, super happy to have you guys on board, and look forward to building the next rocket ship with all of you together. Thank you so much. That's all I had, guys. I'm open for questions.
Thank you, sir, for the wonderful insights. I'll request all the students and faculties, whoever has any questions, you may unmute yourself or you may put them in the chat box and I'll read the questions for you.
No questions. I think I was very clear. I think there is one question. Okay, I think Ayush Shukla has asked a question. How can we channelize energy? How to put next step? Next step, most important, how to arm ourselves. Okay, so Ayush, I think very good question, right? A lot of times you want to do something, but you really don't know how to start, where to start, right? what I would encourage is try and surround yourself with one or two people at least who you can discuss, brainstorm, uh, you know, and they may be your friends, they may be your family members, right? Um, or they may be some of the advisors that you reach out, right? That this is, um, either you may have an idea, which is what you brainstorm, or you may not have an idea, but you know what you can bring to table, and that's what, that's your starting point, right? Um, so as I said, right, you surround yourself with people and then figure out, uh, you know, are you the guy who would come up with the idea, or are you the guy who would be happy to be part of an idea at early stage and help it make it big, right? And in either case, right, it would be good to, um, you know, either yourself know everything, which is probably difficult, right? But maybe, try and get people, try and associate with people who have gone through it, right? Who can be your advisors, or mentors, or whatever, right? Okay. Any other questions? There's another question. What must be our priority, growth of the company or profit we are getting from it? I think the answer is simple to this, to be honest. Um, you know, if you're part of a startup journey where you have stock options in the company, right? Um, then it is like your company. You just have a different proportion of stake, right? And that helps, if everyone has stock options in the company, it helps everyone align to the larger vision of the company, right? Now, what that means is you're never too focused on either, the compensation, because compensation has to be competitive, but it may not, you would always find a job which can pay you 20% more, okay, in a market like India, right? Or you would always find a job which would give you one more promotion because that company is desperate at that time, right? Or promise you work, which is in latest or greatest technology, right? Which is probably better than what you're working on, right? You can always find that job, right? So if that's what excites you, you should go there, right? But if you have a slightly longer term vision, right? And if you think you are at the right place in that startup, if you think you're enjoying working with the people you are working, if you think you're learning, right, from the people, and it may not be necessarily working on the latest technology, but the learning of building a startup, the journey of building a startup, you cannot get that experience anywhere else. Okay. So if you have stock options, you anyways are aligned to the larger vision, goal, and profits and everything else. And I gave you guys an example of a guy who's retired in 4 years just because his stock options are worth so much that he doesn't need to work anymore. Doesn't mean he will not. He just wants to spend few years doing things he wanted to do. Okay. Next one. Okay, can you provide some tips that can help while pitching an idea in front of investor? Honestly, guys, there is no magic formula for this. Okay. Um, some of the things I said, you should be passionate, your energy, storyteller, right? These are the things which are needed with investors, a problem which is large enough, a solution which is scalable, right? So if the various things I talked of is what investors look for, a team, right? Do they have complementary skills? So these are the things an investor would look for, right? Investors typically would invest in the team because do they believe this team can execute or not, right? If they believe this can execute, then they will invest. Because in the process, even if the team has to pivot, if this is not working, the team will figure out without any hesitation about, okay, this is not working. Let's take a term and let's start. Let's make this work, right? So investors actually invest in the team.
Vikram sir, one question from my end.
Yeah, go
Yeah.
ahead.
So, what I'm looking at from the prospect of the students of triple IT, like they are more interested in going into the multinationals and always look around the package which they are getting, and they're on day one, I used to get the question from parents as well, like what is the average package of the final year batch students, and entire 4 years of their journey they are always looking forward to have a good package in their hand, and that is the main motivation of going into the institute, like a big institute like triple IT. So how to address this issue of they should think something out of the box, or they should have some background check or some analysis which they should do so that they can think of the entrepreneurship or innovation as their career opportunities.
Yeah, I think it's a very good question, and I'm not surprised that this is how most people, today look at it, right? They're looking for the right package, and in addition to package, big brands that they can tell their friends, they can tell their parents, relatives, right? And their parents also would feel proud of it. But I think that has happened because that is how India has grown. We started as a service economy, and then multinationals came. I'm very happy that in last few years, startup economy is picking up. So it's about education, and I'm glad you guys are doing sessions like these, which helps educate people. Even if 5% of people who are in the crowd today, right, think about entrepreneurship today, right? I think objective achieved. You can never change everyone, from what they want to do to what is the right thing, depending on what they are looking for, right? And I gave a real life example here, right? You can, 4 years back, anyone who joined Google, which is one of the top companies, right? In 2017 December, anyone who joined Google is probably still working with a very good salary, right? Um, but would have to work next 15, 20 years to be able to have a reasonable bank balance savings, right? And the guy who joined Fivetran, right, in December 2017, semi-retired in December 2021. Okay. So if you have that long-term vision, and if you are ready to, if you have that mindset, which is important, right? Otherwise, every 6 months, you would get distracted because one of your friend would get a heavy raise and you would think, oh man, I should have taken that path. Okay. So that's why you should be passionate. I mean, several of the things I listed here, right? If you think those apply to you, then startup is the place for you. Then don't go there. Then I would say it's a criminal waste of your talent going into any multinational company. Absolutely criminal waste of your talent, right? If you have an entrepreneurial mindset, which is what, which is like, you want to solve problems. Sometimes the problem could be difficult. Sometimes the problem could be simple. Sometimes the technology use could be cutting edge. Sometimes it could be, you know, very simple, old technology, right? You enjoy working with the people you're working. You're you're passionate about the problem you're trying to solve, right? I mean, the various things I talked, right? If those things apply to you, right, then you should certainly pick entrepreneurship. And I would also encourage all of you guys to attend more sessions from entrepreneurs. There's so many things going on in this world, right? Uh, as a result, see, today you may be inspired to join a Google or a Microsoft because that's what you know, but that may not be what you enjoy, right? And so if you learn more about entrepreneurship, you may figure out that this is exactly what you wanted. Right?
So I had this one question like, Should we go for a post grad so that we are more equipped to start with it, or should we, just believe in our idea and straight away go for it?
We have real life examples. Again, maybe I'll pick the same name, Bill Gates, right? Didn't even complete his bachelor's. Okay. So education, higher education is not necessarily a criteria for entrepreneurship. It certainly is a criteria for enhancing your knowledge, certainly is a criteria to get promotions in your jobs, right? But for entrepreneurship, that's not a criteria. You need to have entrepreneurial mindset, which means, let's say you finish your bachelor's, start working on solving this problem, right? um, and then you figure out there are certain things you don't know. You should have a mindset of learning it, or you should have a mindset of figuring out who can be the person in the team who would work on it and be comfortable with it, that you're not working on it, someone else is working on it, which is okay, and you would learn from that person. So that mindset is very important.
Right, so we have another question in our chat box. How do you manage Fivetran and your new startup at the same time?
It's a good question, I think. So one of my life philosophies throughout my career has been about making myself redundant. Uh, Most of the times, what happens is people feel threatened if someone else can do their job. And I'm actually reverse. If I have to do my job every day, then I feel I am not doing my job well. I believe in surrounding myself with people who are better than me in at least something. Okay. And as a result, collectively, all of them should be able to, make a huge impact under my guidance. Okay. Um, so there are, so with that thought process, right, and that's why I grew so fast in my technical career. With that thought process, when I came to India as well, right, PMC, when I grew to 1,000 people, right, it had about at one point of time maybe 11 different companies, inside PMC in Bangalore, right? They were all 11 different business units operating like a company, and I was managing all of that. Uh, so, um, so yeah, I learned, how to make myself redundant at the same time, how to keep an eye on what is going on everywhere, right? And how do I provide, my guidance, my mentorship, and my vision, right? And that's why, Fivetran also have built it the same way. I have amazing leadership team in Fivetran, and makes my job easy. And this new startup also, I'm very focused in building that leadership along with building great engineers as well, right? I mean, I took two names, and Bhushan and Pawar Srinivas, amazing guys, right? And I'm sure in 6 months' time, they would be at a stage where they don't need any supervision as well. They would, you know, not even 6 months' time, maybe, right? They would be doing things on their own, which means their manager does not have to spend a lot of time on them. Their manager can spend time on bringing new people in. That's how we scale. That's how everyone can do a lot more. Yeah, but one should also never do multiple things at the same time unless what is in hand, you know, um, you have you have achieved a place of dominance. Because otherwise, you do, two, three, five things at the same time, nothing will succeed. I guarantee that. Okay. So you have to reach a stage where you dominate that place, and then you think of something else.
Sir, one more question. Because like I have few of my students who are in this frame of mind, final year students. who are planning to go for MS, and they want to pursue their career for a few years in US and then get back to India. So what they are reluctant about is whether they'll be able to come back to India after having 4 or 5 years of their technical journey in abroad, and about the opportunities which they will be having while coming back, whether they can they are not sure whether they can take that much of risk of coming back at the start. So what needs to be the frame of mind while they are in the process of going to the journey of MS and then further pursuing job there?
I think one needs to be clear about what are they doing and why, right? If they are going for MS and a job there, right? Okay, then what is the objective? Because if the objective is a job, then location uh, either shouldn't matter, or and if it matters, then there should be reasons, right? So I think one has to be very clear in their mind about what are they trying to do and why. Okay, whether there will be opportunities in India at that time or not, no one can tell. But if they have a mindset of I will figure out how do I come back to India, they will figure out how they come back to India. Okay. Um, there is always opportunities for people who want to, take charge of their destiny. Always, in everything. That's my strong belief, guys. I think there is one more question in the box. Should we still pursue for a startup in a domain which a big company is already established in? Okay. So I will relate back um, to the slide of competition, right? Study your competition, right? If you think you can put together a solution which is 10 times better than Google, absolutely, right? When we built Fivetran, there's a company called Informatica, like 25, 30-year-old company, guys. Okay. Dominates that space. Okay. Um, we would have looked, we would have probably looked foolish to even think of putting together the product that we have put together. But we were completely convinced about the solution, how we are going to implement, how this changes the lives of customers, how it makes it easy for them, and also how it makes it cheaper for them. And we went after it, and we are beating Informatica left, right, center now. And the new stealth mode startup we are working on right now, similar, right? There's competition out there right now. They're not big companies, but there's competition out there right now. Many of those, all of them have tried to solve the problem in a particular way. We are trying to solve the problem in a completely different way, and we completely convinced that we can put the solution together. And once we put the solution together, the market is just waiting, is what we believe. Yeah. Okay, next question. You mentioned about team. Your thoughts on single founder versus co-founders, where and how to find co-founders. So there are companies which are successful with single founders, nothing wrong, right? Um, but it's important to have complementary skills, and it is important to attract them, right? And and if you think you can do that, then nothing wrong, right? Uh, the moment you bring co-founders, it adds a lot of value, but it also creates potential issues, right? And that is something that we did really well in Fivetran. We made sure we all co-founders were, all the co-founders were, good. I mean, the tuning was really good, complementary skills, amazing thought process and collaboration and all of that, right? Okay. And same thing we are doing in our current startup as well, right? 90% of the startups actually fail because the co-founders end up fighting. So you have to be careful on that, right? Where and how to find co-founders. LinkedIn is a place, right? But I would prefer that to be the last option. Okay. You should reach out within your circles. If not, try and get advisors and get their help to connect you to people, right? Not to give you co-founders, but to connect you to people, and then you meet those people and figure out if there is a match, right? Any other questions, guys?
The audience may feel free to even unmute themselves if it's taking a bit too long to type in the question. So I had this one request from a student who wishes to gain access to the PPT that was being shared. So can we share that?
I think that should be fine.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, information is everywhere, guys. If I want to make myself redundant, I have to be, I have to be sharing information as freely as possible, right? And absolutely no problem if you guys, want to have access to the deck. Right. Well, if there's no more questions, right, I'm active on LinkedIn. Feel free to send me a request and connect, right? Um, and um, and I sincerely wish you all good luck. I think it is, I'm glad we are in a time where, where triple IT kind of institutions are, taking these initiatives and organizing sessions like this, right? One must, I think, just because we don't know about certain area, we shouldn't assume what we know is the best for us. I encourage you to explore entrepreneurship, speak to people who have done it in the past. And I started off saying it's hard. Don't expect it to be easy. So be prepared for their horror stories, how things went south and, all of that. But the journey is what is amazing. And the fruits of the journey are the whole reason you want to have a good job is the fruits, right? And the fruits you can potentially get from a startup journey, you cannot compare that with anything else, right? So with that, thank you all, unless there is any last question or comment.
I think we are done with the questions. I would request the audience to turn on the cameras for the final snapshot. And parallelly, I'll be presenting a formal vote of thanks to you, sir. So thank you, Vikram, sir, for this efficacious session on insights into entrepreneurship. Those mind-boggling questions by the audience were surely impressive. I am grateful to Institution's Innovation Council of Indian Institute of Information Technology, Nagpur, for organizing, and Ministry of Education's Innovation Cell, AICTE, New Delhi, for sponsoring the Impact Lecture Series in online mode. And most importantly, my gratitude towards Dr. O.G. Kakde, Director, Triple ITN, Dr. Ashwin Kothari, Dean, Triple ITN, and Dr. Kailash Dhakne, Registrar, Triple ITN, and the esteemed faculties and the uh, supporting team members for giving us this opportunity to learn and helping us connect with such industry experts and guiding and believing in us all well on. So thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. It's really my pleasure to be here, and I hope it was useful for students as well.
Thank
Thank you.
you, sir. I actually, apart from students, it was me who was more excited about this interaction, and I have pursued also. I somehow wanted you to have you on the board so that students can get the idea of how to pursue it. So thank you so much, sir, for accepting our invitation, and I look forward to have a long-term collaborations with you. So anytime if you visit Nagpur, do visit our campus, and we have a offline mode interaction with students, and that would be much more motivating to students than the online mode. So we look forward to have you on our campus.
Sounds very good. I look forward to as well. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a good one. Thanks, guys. Bye.